all of these mega industries, particularly in the commerce and the ICT world, the replacement of jobs, robotics, all coming in. There's a clear warning for young people to be more vigilant in terms of what's coming, and to recognize that the ruthlessness of capital and the Zionist order is totally indifferent to their struggles. And we need to speak to them to develop a value system of solidarity, of activism.
Welcome to the program. Joining me today from South Africa is Nazim Adam, Chair of PSA. Mr. Adam has prepared a response to the United Nations report on the Palestinian children's situation, which he will formally present on August 16th. And also, he has a campaign in South Africa mobilizing support for the Palestinian children in particular, and the Palestinian people and the Palestinian cause in general, as part of South Africa solidarity with the Palestinian people and their cause. Welcome to the program, Nazim.
It's a great pleasure to be with you again, Osama. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Greetings to everyone.
Nazim, let's start with your comment to the United Nations report on the Palestinian children's situation, and if there is anything missing in that report or anything to be added from your own perspective.
So, Osama, the UN report, the one that came out in June and July, and then there was another one today from UNICEF, but the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees report was a damning report on the atrocities that the Palestinian people are facing, particularly in Gaza. And the scale of the violence is just unprecedented. And as a solidarity organization, we recognize that oftentimes these legitimate reports, well-documented, first-hand accounts of research and testimony gets lost in the technocratic language of the UN reports. And in that regard, we decided then to take the document and rework it and present it in a way that is accessible to ordinary people to begin to document and stand witness to the atrocities that the report covers. And we know it's far worse on the ground for Palestinian people. But I mean, the report is just from the very beginning, you see that of the report that the children killed in Gaza, what they have concluded is at least 20,000 plus that they have documented, over 45,000 that have been injured. Children under the age of 5 is 5,000. Children under the rubble, 5,000 plus. And these are just estimated numbers. The proportion of children killed has risen to 30% from the 24% in previous conflicts. So clearly the report is a testimony to the atrocities of the Israelis and the genocide that they are committing. Where the report obviously is not going to go further is to talk about what we need to do. How do we take this struggle further? How do we act on the words and the testimonies that is in front of us?
Yeah, and that is the question, Mr. Adam, that the United Nations issues many reports on the Palestinian situation in general and the Palestinian children in particular, and the numbers that the report mentions are so shocking. But how difficult it is to translate these figures and this United Nations human rights based language into action on the ground in order to stop such catastrophic condition befalling the Palestinian children. Some people say, okay, we have hundreds of reports, but the massacre continues. So what is the point of such reports?
So, absolutely, the criticism on the United Nations in general and many international bodies is the same. I think the important thing and the work that all of these organizations are doing in documenting the evidence is part of the long-term strategy that can be used to hold Israel to account at the ICJ and through the ICC. And that is why you're also beginning to see the powers that be from America and Israel trying to undermine these international institutions. As much as they are impotent in being able to act on what their findings are, not to which they should. They should be imposing sanctions, isolating Israel, very much like apartheid South Africa was isolated, led to a pariah state. This is not happening, but it does not mean that we must undermine the institutions, because that would play into the books of the Zionists who want to delegitimize everything from Amnesty to Human Rights Watch to the United Nations and to many other charitable human rights organizations. The fact that they are killing doctors and journalists is that they are afraid of the testimony, or they are afraid of the recorded evidence of what they are doing. And we have to guard that, we have to amplify it. And as civil society, our job is to take action. And that action is in the form of our solidarity work, it's in the form of our actions on the ground. We need to move beyond the solidarity and start organized political action. We need to move away from the marches and protests to actually isolating and breaking Israel and all its supporters down. We have a saying here in our organization that we have to fight Zionism at home. That means we have to fight the Zionists in our country, those political parties, those former white political parties of the apartheid regime and agents that still align with apartheid Israel. We need to challenge them and those leaders that are supporting them. But more than
you
that,
mentioned, you told me, Adam, before we start the interview, that you are working nowadays on a campaign to mobilize support and advocacy for the rights of the Palestinian children. So if you tell us about what is the goal of this campaign and how would you like to see the outcome of it?
So, Usama, as a solidarity group based in South Africa with our history, we recognize that the ultimate goal is now the total dismantling of Zionism. You can't rebrand it, you can't adapt it, you have to dismantle it totally. The atrocities committed, the horrendous psychotic behavior of the Israeli people means that we have to totally dismantle that. And that means we are busy with a very strong campaign, which includes a number of things. One is to raise awareness about the plight of the Palestinian people, to amplify Palestinian voices and their struggles, to give support to the Palestinians where we can, but also to build a national and global movement that will hopefully culminate in a full anti-apartheid, anti-settler colonial, anti-Zionist movement that tackles Zionism wherever its tentacles are. So we know that they have tentacles in, for example, in FIFA. And so the sports boycott becomes critical to part of our strategy, as does the number of South African companies, Jewish-based companies, that fund Israel and fund the Israeli Defense Force. At home, one of our big campaigns is to identify and prosecute South Africans or Israeli soldiers visiting our country or those who hold dual citizenship. I think that is a critical challenge for us in South Africa.
Yeah, and let me ask you, Mr. Adam, about the nature of this campaign. We know that when the Israeli genocidal war was at its peak against the Palestinians, killing hundreds every day, the demonstrations were sweeping the international capitals, including that of South Africa. But when the level of killing goes down, these demonstrations go down with that. Does this mean that these campaigns need more organization and to be more structured? What do you think?
Osama, so for activists in the Palestinian sphere, I think there are multiple causes that we are fighting, which also draws our attention. For example, we are battling with a very serious case of xenophobia and attack on refugees by some sectors of our community in South Africa. And as Palestinian solidarity activists, our humanity doesn't start and stop at Palestine. It also needs to impact on the plight of refugees in our country from Malawi and Zimbabwe and our neighboring countries that were being attacked, as you know, right-wing politicians normally do. We see it in America with ICE and so forth. So there has been a refocus. Many activists have been focusing on local issues. We've got a big upcoming election. But we, as the Solidarity, need to explain and direct people to say that the warning is that Palestine is the pivot. Palestine is the center of our human rights struggle. Because if we allow the Zionists to get away with this genocide against the Palestinian people, the warning is that they're coming after us next. And we
Yeah.
have to build a better society generally. So, yes, people are stuck in their own development, their own conflicts. There is a decline in popular activity. And there's a challenge for us to build the movement, to recruit more active members, to continue highlighting the plight of our people. For example, one of the key things is that there is no ceasefire. There are just as many killings happening as before October 2025 when the so-called ceasefire was declared. We need to expose the Board of Peace for what it is doing. And we need to take a leaf maybe out of the global Sumut flotilla, which creatively managed to grab the attention of the world and raise the profile of the Palestinian struggle. And remember, there are many struggles across the globe,
Yes.
Sudan,
Yeah,
Kashmir,
Adam. Yeah.
and we have to link all of our struggles.
Yes, and today the word marks the International Youth Day, while the Palestinian youth, whether in the Gaza Strip, Jerusalem, the occupied West Bank, are facing catastrophic conditions, as you just mentioned, that the ceasefire deal that was signed, it's in name but not in practice. Israel is still killing Palestinians every day. So what do you say to the young people of South Africa and the youth of the world about the situation of their peers in Gaza and the West Bank?
I think that the warning of the plight of the Gazan people, I think for youth in Gaza, the sense of destruction of the education and their future and their hope is not going to be limited to Gaza. I think that's the warning to youth. We're seeing rising unemployment. We're seeing AI and all of these mega industries, particularly in the commerce and the ICT world, the replacement of jobs, robotics, all coming in. There's a clear warning for young people to be more vigilant in terms of what's coming, and to recognize that the ruthlessness of capital and the Zionist order is totally indifferent to their struggles. And we need to speak to them to develop a value system of solidarity, of activism, of human rights, of dignity for all, and to value the freedoms that they do have, and to struggle for justice. I think the values based society that we need to build is as, if not now, more important than that kind of commercial, materialistic wealth creation, job security that we've always driven in the West. We need to build a society that is far more humane. And I think that would be the message for our youth. We just need to care more for each other.
Yeah, and my final question to you, Mr. Adam, is when you deliver your message to the young people of South Africa about their peers in occupied Palestine, how much effect this message has, and how responsive the people to the crisis and to the ordeal of the Palestinians?
Usama, to be honest, we have a diverse youth and diverse nation. We also just had statistics released of over 33% of youth unemployment in our country. So we are dealing with a lot of issues. I think in your middle class communities, we are getting some traction, people who read, who are exposed and not limited by the algorithms of Meta and Instagram and TikTok and so forth. So those who are getting the news are moved and they are concerned. But to get active, I think it's that tipping point that we're looking for in terms of getting youth. And it will probably be from those more I would say safer classes, the middle classes, where they're not battling for the next meal. People who are in the working class and the working poor, they will naturally identify with the Palestinian people because they're actually living the same struggles. But they have to fight their own battles, and they realize that, and we respect that. And oftentimes we do get them very active in the Palestine solidarity, in the Sudanese solidarity movements, and so forth. But it's a battle, Usama, to be honest, to get youth who are hooked on scrolling, hooked on materialism, and hooked on the instant gratification of the screen to become more active and to lobby and to challenge and to support even the boycott. Because it is a tough with the current generation of youth.
Yeah, Mr. Adam, it has been a great pleasure having you in the program. Thank you very much for your time and for everything you do for Palestine, South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Sama. May Allah accept all.
Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. And from you, Sama Nazal, have a nice time.